January doesn't have to be about fixing yourself. This month on Chasing Brighter, we're sharing Superwoman Diaries, honest reflections on the invisible pressure women carry. Our free January download, Permission Slips for the Superwoman Who's Tired, is a gentle reminder that you don't have to earn rest, explain your no, or do it all to be worthy. So sign up for our newsletter to get the free download at chasingbrighter.com.
Welcome to the Chasing Brighter podcast, the podcast created as a guide to make midlife the best life.
Are you ready to embrace the next chapter of your life with confidence and excitement? Your best life is just a listen away. Hey, Kelly, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you? How is January going?
Good. I want to circle back to December because I never debriefed. I never debriefed on our family Christmas that we hosted.
Oh, yeah. I just talked to Mom today.
Yeah. So in our family, on my dad's side, the Martin family, our grandmother always hosted dinner on Christmas Eve, and she wanted her children to keep it going. And so all of the children took turns hosting what we call the Martin Christmas, and we choose a date in December. And there are 4 remaining children, and they take turns hosting, and everyone lives in Kansas except for us and my parents. And so every 4 years, the family comes out to Vegas and we host them, and we host them at my home. But this year, I can really see the journey and how I've improved and gotten better with boundaries. And I just think old Jessica would take on everything and then be running around the house screaming at everybody and being crazy. But our mother is partially retired and our father is retired. And I was like, Dad's technically supposed to be hosting this, right? So I was like, you guys are making all the food and let me know what you're making and I will fill in the blanks. And so I felt like I wasn't taking on the burden of everything. And I think I was really trying to simplify everything and not be stressed out. And at the same time, all 3 of my children had a baseball or softball tournament while everyone's in town. And so I think that just for myself, I managed it in a way that I wasn't stressed or upset or worried. And our family was so grateful. I mean, all of our aunts and uncles multiple times, thank you so much. Oh my goodness, Jessica, thank you for hosting this. Like many of them were insisting on giving me money and I was like, no, thank you. And they're like, absolutely. This then pay for a housekeeper. They wouldn't take no. You did all of this. We just showed up, and so it was helpful. And everyone was
That's great.
Yeah. And Jean was like, what can I do? What can I do? She kept texting me, I'm at this store, I'm at this store. What can I bring? So we hosted on a Saturday evening.
That?
Yeah.
By the way, let's just pause here. How great is that to really be in like a family dynamic situation where everyone is very helpful and everybody is grateful for what you're contributing? It's so lovely.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that like passive aggressively because it's just like taking those moments when things do work out great.
Well, I think about almost the opposite. When we show up, I roll in and don't ask anybody anything when we fly in. And I'm like, maybe I should be trying to help more. And so 2 things on that. Number 1,
that's interesting.
Something I realized. Okay. So I saw this reel on social media and I think I've talked about it before, but it was like when you see your family and they keep talking about your past and it's like a house you lived in and you're like, I don't live there anymore. And not only do I not live there anymore, I burned the house down. And so sometimes I feel like when I go visit family somewhere, whatever, extended family, and they keep talking to me about when I was little, right? Like, oh, you're so crazy or whatever it is. And it's like, well, I'm a completely different person now, right? And you think I'm here, but I'm over here. And it just made me realize with our family, really getting to know our aunts and uncles and recognizing that some of the ways that I defined them were from what we heard as children, like who we thought they were, but like not getting to know who they are now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's the perspective that you have of them, you build. It goes back to anything else, I feel like, if that's what you mean, where it's sort of like it's based on what shaped your past, and what has shaped your view of them is how others have described
Yes. So like, for instance, we have
things.
an uncle that came, and I remember I've only seen him happy and playful and wonderful to me. Okay. But I remember hearing that he got really upset with another one of our uncles, and I think it got physical or something, right? So in Jessica's little mind, from when she heard this when she was a child, was like, oh, he has a temper, right? In my
Hmm.
mind, right? He has a temper. Whatever it is, I never saw the temper, right? But you hear a family story or whatever. So, and I was talking to his wife, and we were talking about emotional regulation, and we were talking about our father, and we were talking about different things. And she said, my husband, he was like that, but he hardly ever gets angry anymore. Right. And so it's like allowing all of us in these journeys of like being able to change. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I would love for that to be the case even with our own father. It does like a linkage to when I read the memoir from Viola Davis, where she talked even
Mm-hmm.
about her dad, who
Yeah.
is
Mm-hmm.
alcoholic and abusive and all these things. But as he got older, he really chilled out to the point that he
Right.
was a very lovely person, and it had the demons of the past were sort of like deeply buried.
Yeah.
And I think that people do change over time,
Yeah.
and not everybody does. And
Yeah.
maybe
Not
people take a
everybody.
little bit longer.
Yes. And I also
Yeah.
think what I'm talking about is like my understanding of them was wrong in the first place. Does that make sense? Because you
Yeah,
heard
yeah,
things
yeah,
as a
yeah, yeah, yeah.
child, but that
Well,
wasn't
it's
ever firsthand
and
experience.
maybe
And not,
yeah, and just it's maybe also to that what you're saying is like you perceive a person based on like a single interaction or a single story when in fact you actually truly don't know them. And I
yeah,
think that translates even to a lot of things in life where I realize like I love the meme about the lady who is like, I've been friends with these ladies for 40 years. And have you seen the meme where it's like, I've been friends with these love ladies for 40 years. And they're like, oh, how do you keep your friendship like, intact? And she was like, because we don't judge each other. And then she was like, but we judge everybody else. We just don't judge each other. And like,
yeah,
it makes me laugh because
yeah,
it's very easy to judge other people. But I do find myself now thinking like, I don't know that person. Like I'm
yeah,
going to go off of
right.
making a judgment where I truly
Because you
don't.
hear let
Yeah.
me get to know this person based on my interactions. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry, so
Yes.
and so has that impression. But you said also with our father melling out. You tell me, our dad did not get upset once during Thanksgiving, correct? Did he?
In your presence. Oh yeah, he flew
And
off the handle about something when I was over at their house. Yeah.
oh, okay. And my at a family gathering, he did
In a
not.
large gathering of
Okay.
people, he was able to
And
keep it to a
yes,
minimum
this was
small
three,
group.
and then during the holidays, it was like three in a row family gatherings. Also, after he sent me a message and said, "Thank you so much. This was a wonderful weekend, and thank you for hosting."
It was his family, so
So
I can
there's
see
some
where he's
growth. I mean,
enjoying.
some change, but also as a therapist, I help people like stop contact with their family because, like Viola Davis, from what I'm understanding from you, a lot of his irritation, and I didn't read the book, but is that he was stressed. He had all of these kids and they had no money and he was screaming and beating them. And then it's like, oh, well, then when some of those stressors were taken off of the plate
I
for
think
him,
so. Yeah,
things
I agree.
changed. But I
Yes.
think, they call that, there's a great book called Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents by Lindsay Gibson. And she has a thing in there called the healing fantasy. And so it talks about when we're not basing our relationship off of reality, but like we have this healing fantasy that our parents change and mellow out, or this changes or this changes. And I would say, in my experience as a therapist, that's very rare, you know? But
Yeah.
anyway, really, really wonderful. But I just thought that was so cool to have more just like our grandmother, my mother's mother, got to know her as an adult. I love that I got to have all these great conversations with our family. And it was a wonderful time. And just how kids are too. Like we hosted my cousin Charlie and his wife Sherry and their 4 kids. And just how kids, right? They just walk in a house. Well, it's a different house, right? So it's amazing. They're running around, playing with toys, because everything's different. And how the kids just clicked right away. Cooper's in high school and Dominic doesn't always socialize or whatever. And Dominic immediately went up to Cooper, was talking to Cooper, and he and Cooper hung out. They were playing pool, hanging out at mom and dad. It was wow. And Lexi's hysterical. She's 4.5 and a princess. And Gabby doted on her and it was hysterical. And so her and Gabby did makeup every day. And Gabby she did these amazing, you saw those nails that she did. Well, she took them all off solid and she had kept them because she had made them press-ons for herself. And so she gave them to Lexi. And so she was walking around with these press-ons and just, it was hysterical. So then Gabby went to the store and bought her little girl press-ons. And she was just so funny. And so
this tracks out because mom said she had her nails done redone every day. So now I realize it was just an evolution of the nail.
Yeah, Gabby wanted to get her real nails, but she was so funny. And then she went in Gabby's makeup and was like, "Oh, I found your mascara. I put some on." Gabby was like, "Oh my gosh!" And then it was really great. I think it ended up being a good balance. I hope everyone had a wonderful time, and I didn't feel stressed out. Justin and I have entertained so much over the years that we also just have a way that we do things, right? So I brought both the folding tables in, and then I had 3 folding tables outside, and we had the heater, and mom and dad the main courses. So I just did a few sides, and Sherry helped me so much. And then, the next night I was like, well, people are still here. So we made lasagna for everybody. And so it's also one of the things I thought about saying, I don't do that when we travel out of state. I was talking to Aunt Sally and she was like, last time we hosted, she goes, I feel like I'm getting too old for this. And we were talking about it and they hosted at the church hall. But, I knew this, but the church hall is not decorated.
Yeah.
And they come in the day before and put up a Christmas tree and decorate the Christmas tree and put out table and decorate the whole place. And so she said, I'm getting too old to do this. And I was saying, I go, why can't we simplify it? How could we simplify it for you? Just kind of talking to her about that, maybe we go to a restaurant, and I was like, she was looking at me over my dead body. But this past year for Thanksgiving, a huge percentage of my clients went out for dinner for Thanksgiving. A lot of restaurants are doing full family Thanksgiving.
I agree, Jess. I think, yes. Yeah.
And so I was like, well, first I focused on the food. I said, what if we just got pizza? What if we kept it simple? But it was the decorations, all of that stuff. It's how could we lighten the load? And so for me, even though it's in my home, my house was decorated for Christmas. And remember, I decorated really early this year. So I felt literally all I did was pop up some tables.
Yeah, you did decorate.
I asked for help.
Early.
When Jean said, can I help you? Old Jessica would have been no, I have everything. But I was like, Mom and Dad, you bring paper plates. You do this. You do this. Jean, can you bring this? And just kind of delegating and everything just made it really simple for me. So it was really wonderful.
Well, you did a fair amount of planning beforehand. And like you said, you have done this before. So I think, when I hear what you say and I think about others and maybe they're at other stages of this, one of the things with entertaining is you have to lean in and you have to entertain a fair amount to get comfortable with it in a way that doesn't stress you out. Because I feel like that is where I started. I used to joke here we bought this big house and we have this whole brand new kitchen and we did it to entertain, but I don't entertain. And now I'm starting to entertain more and I'm not that great at it, but I'm getting better because to me, it's the reason I say I'm not great at it is because I don't want it to be stressful. I want it to be very easy. I want to be able to throw together things last minute. We had friends over a couple weeks ago and I literally just slapped some cubes of cheese on a board and was like, this is all I have. I cooked pizza. I did some other stuff, but it wasn't what I wanted. But they had come over. I had friends over previously where we ordered in. And ordering in, A, it takes a long time. B, it's expensive. And C, it's still crap. Unless you get pizza. If you order sandwiches or something, it's expensive and it's not what you want. And I was like, people just want to eat. They don't really need some sort of fancy meal. And kind of working through my own journey on that. So I think that's part of it, Jess, right? Is just like getting comfortable with being able to do it in a way that's not stressful, because that's what's important to you, right? It's like you don't want to stress out about it, and hearing the ants where it's like you don't want them to stress out about it. How do we make it easier for them?
Yeah. Well, it's like what you're saying too, like over the years, like we used to borrow chafing dishes from our friend. I mean, we didn't do chafing dishes this year, but like we used to borrow.
Everyone just had cold food.
Then I buy chafing dishes. No, but I have like double ovens and I kept everything warm, right? And then you just pull it out.
Yeah.
When it's going. But, for
you
chafing
figured
dishes,
it out, though. That's all really great.
Chafing dishes, we hosted, a baby shower in October, and I got those out. But more about like, how much feeds a certain amount of people. You've got the dishes, you've got the boards, you've got the serving spoons. Like, just over the years, we have all of those things. So I wasn't going through a list of my mind of like, how am I serving the food? How am I, I have tablecloths. This is funny. I wanted Giovanni to help me. Giovanni, can you run up and get a tablecloth? Okay. Okay, what did you want, Mom? Babe, can you run upstairs in the linen closet and grab the gray tablecloths? Okay. He comes downstairs with a navy blue duvet. And I was like, nobody. He'd tried like 3 times, and I was like, okay, he does not know what a tablecloth is.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
I was like, can you go get the root beer? Is there root beer in the garage? I thought I saw root beer. And he runs in the house, and we're shooting out everywhere. He was like, I dropped one. And then I'm like, oh, great. And he comes in, and like, then he comes back and he's holding like 7 cans of root beer like around. And I was like, okay, thanks so much for your help, buddy. You can go play now. I was like, your help has been wonderful, getting a duvet and dropping root beers. But it was, and also just embracing chaos, knowing it's chaos, it's short term, everyone's going to be there. It is what it is. The house will get back in order at some point. I don't need it to be perfect. I don't know. Before, maybe I try to have this perfect house, and I'm just like, this is the house we live in. This is how things are, and not trying to like have this image of like, we don't have a speck of dirt anywhere and cleaning like crazy before people come or something.
And I love that too, because it sounds like that it's just more important the time you're spending with people and the connection and spending. That is more important than making sure you have a nice house or all those things. Is like, being in a state of mind to engage and enjoy.
That's what I was telling
family.
Aunt Sally. I said, did you fly across the country to have a good meal? And we were just kind of laughing. I said, if you did, your priorities are out of whack. Like, we were just saying, you're not doing that. You are only doing that so you can be with your family. So everything else doesn't matter. You know what I mean? And so how can we simplify it and not put these pressures on ourselves, that we're like, oh my gosh, I have to have this, I have to have this, I have to have this. When it's like, really, everyone's coming just to see you. It's fine. Whatever it is, it is,
Yep.
Yeah. So it was good. So any of you out there who entertained over the holidays, or that's one of your things to do in 2026, just I think that's our theme already of January, is give yourself grace and try to just have fun and not put all this crazy pressure on yourself. And don't be afraid to delegate and ask for help.
Yeah. And on the flip side too, I mean, I really am bummed we didn't get a chance to join and see everybody. But I think that's the other part where it's like, I couldn't make it. We couldn't make it. It was a lot of different travel. And so I think on the flip side too with family is it's like, you got to be okay that you can't be everywhere all the time, and you're going to miss things, and you're going to miss important family gatherings. Certain things happen. And so, also give yourself grace to do that, so you're not making yourself crazy. I can't imagine for us to like turn around and hop on a plane and try to just jam it all in. Yeah. I don't feel like I would have been a quality visit for me too. And so it's like everybody needs to kind of figure out what really is going to work for them, and then just unapologetic be that.
Right.
Thanks for listening today.
If you loved today's episode, share with a friend.
Are you ready to chase brighter days ahead? Subscribe to Chasing Brighter now, and let's embark on this exciting journey together.